2010, Ekiti State in the southwest region of Nigeria was 14 years old when Dr. John Kayode Fayemi became its governor. Now, in his speech at his inauguration, he launched an 8-point agenda which he named Collective Rescue Mission. And come Saturday, June 21, 2014, he will be going back to seek a second term as governor from the people of Ekiti State. How successful will that bid be? Well, hello and welcome. This is 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajetumobi. I thank you for joining me on the program today. Now, this time, Dr. Fayemi says he intends to consolidate on the foundation he has laid down in the last 4 years. On Sunday, March 23, 2014, for instance, I follow him on Twitter. This is what he tweeted. He says, if there is an election that should be issue-based and devoid of violence, it should be this one. End of quote. He also said, let the candidates begin to lay bare their plans to govern Ekiti State. Let them begin to present their alternative action plans for the development of critical sectors of the state by the people. He wants his rivals to traverse the nooks and crannies of the state to freely sell their plan of action in an atmosphere of peace and harmony. I'm asking today, what then are his plans to govern the state? What are the action plans for developing the critical sectors of the state? And is he selling his action plan in an atmosphere of peace and harmony? So join me after the break. I'm counting down 60 minutes with Bimbo Daramola, the Director General of the John Kayode Fayemi Campaign Organization for this election in June 2014. Welcome back. Welcome, Mr. Daramola. Thank you very much for coming on 60 Minutes with me.
Thank you very much, Angela. It feels good to be here, and I see the good work you're doing at your studio, and it's reassuring that people can also sustain the kind of brand equity that you stepped out of channels with.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as the Director General of the campaign organization for Governor Fayemi, how far has that campaign gone? He had called for an issue-based campaign. Is it an issue-based campaign so far?
Well, thank you very much, Angela. Pretty much so. We started out, this is not a knee-jerk enterprise or expedition for us.
Right.
We know too well that this day was going to come, and we had prepared for it. And in preparing for this day, what we've chosen to do was to clearly stand head and shoulder above everybody else.
Yes.
And then in seeking to do that, we decided to stay out of the park by clearly making it clear that we would run a campaign that is fair, civil, issue-based, agenda-driven. And we've kept to our terms with regards to the way we want to run our campaigns. And thus far, you would discover that the sound bites coming out of my campaign has been basically about how do you see yourself in the next 4 years? Would you rather put the fate and fortunes of people into steady, tested, trusted hands, or uncertain, shaky hands? Politicians could suffer selective amnesia, but the people don't. And as much as possible, we've tried to remind the people of how far we've come,
Yes.
where we were before Fahimi got into position, where we are today, and the prospects of where we're headed. We've tried to also invite the guys who are also making efforts and overtures to the people to run the state again, to either give us something that is brand new, or tell us what you can do better.
Right.
And more than anything else, give us your credentials. It's not enough and it's not sufficient for me to come, and I've said this variously and people think it's a snide remark, but that's the truth. Fahimi has come to these elections with records. His is a paid check. It is a check that has a stamp of paid on it. It's different from somebody who's coming with promissory notes.
Yes.
It's tested, it's trusted. Across the length and breadth of the 132 cities and towns and villages that makes up Ekiti State,
Yes.
we've traversed about 4 local governments as at the last time when I stepped off the campaign. And everybody, including the KBSCs, indeed starting from the KBSCs, all of them have put their faces to camera. And the first set of things they say when we get to the places is to thank him for what he's done, for his fidelity to his inaugural speech. And those things are provided issues by themselves. And you need to impeach the integrity of those claims before you can aspire to come to Okibarike.
Yes, but does it interest you to know that one of the accusations from the opposition is that he is elitist? He doesn't have, he's lost touch with the ordinary grassroots Ekiti people. In fact, one of his rivals prides himself on being the grassroots man.
Well, if being grassroots, if being a grassroots politician is stepping out of line, out of convoy to go buy boli, that's a roasted plantain, from one woman and giving her 2,000 naira, or buying vegetables from one person and then tomatoes from another person. If that's all, if that's that person's claim to leadership, it's a sorry pass. Ekiti has moved beyond that. The 3.5 years of Kadi Fahimi has given quality to governance and government. And we don't have apologies about it. People say he talks over and over. But then we used to have, that state used to be, and we need to remind the people, that used to be a state of one day, one trouble. 1 week, one trouble. When you had somebody who had the insignia of state behind him, crawling under barbed wires at the airport. The pictures are up there, you know. And then you have a governor who in 3 years now shares podium and rostrum with eminent personalities and citizens of the world. That's the difference. And of course, I mean, I don't know what the kind of interpretation that people give to leadership. One of the quantum factors that you must look out for in leadership is the capacity to envision, the capacity to inspire. How do you inspire a 10-year-old boy when the governor goes under a barbed wire, a barricade at the airport? How do you inspire leadership when you step out of your convoy to go buy boli or to go do paraga, and you compare that vis-a-vis a governor who says 25,000 vulnerable senior citizens of this country, of our state, will get 5,000 naira per month? What is the regional implication of buying boli from 3 people, or buying vegetables from 3 people, or buying tomatoes from 3 people, compared with somebody who says 10,000 volunteers on 10,000 naira per month, and 5,000 naira to 25,000 senior citizens, and the number is growing? Or in youth in commercial agriculture, 300 people at work in Ikogosi today, that same person didn't bother to, indeed looted and took the equipment from there, the ACs from there, to fix his own hotel. So what do you mean? If that's that person's claim to being a grassroots mobilizer, and I think the person needs to recheck what is the purpose of government. What is a governor supposed to do? I understand that one of the guys parading himself to become the governor to succeed Dr. Fahimi, and God forbid it's not going to happen. He said he's going to donate his salary and allowances to pay people.
Yes, he will never
I've never seen anything so puerile, so jejune, so hollow. Is that the job of a governor?
Well, doesn't that show that he's willing to sacrifice? He doesn't want to be paid to be governor. He sees it as a form of sacrifice.
Angie, let me tell you this. Governance deserves serious mindedness. It's not tokenism. How much is a governor's salary? Even if it's 1 million naira per month. If his allowance is 5 million naira per month, how much of impact can that do? A governor is supposed to engender the development of institutions that will acquire his own fullest stature and status. Regardless of who is there, the system runs. That is the job of the governor. When Dr. Fayemi ensured that gender-sensitive laws or statutes are passed in the State Assembly to prevent assault on women, that is the job of the governor. Not donating 10,000 or 50,000 naira to who? Who takes it? Are you running to become a councillor? We're talking about governor of a state. And you get a state that you have to superintend over 2.6 billion naira per month.
Yes.
And that must impact the lives of people. That is who a governor should be. And when a man has the presence of mind to say, for the very first time in this country, and dare say in Africa, yes, there's a social safety initiative that takes care of the vulnerable of society. That's the job of the governor. Not, I will donate my salary. I think when people begin to distill the finer details of governance through the pipette or the bullet of tokenism, the days are long gone now that anybody will feel that, oh, I don't know what else to do. Let me go take a shot at the Ekiti State Government House because it's a rustic state. Yes. It's in the backwaters. Nobody seems to know. And we're not going to play catch up anymore. Fayemi, no doubt about my governor, my candidate, has taken Ekiti State beyond that realm today. We've gone past the days of going to drink parak, and there's nothing wrong with identifying with Okada. Yes. Fayemi does. Fayemi has not banned Okada. One thing he said is that I'm going to have you keep your jobs, but you practice your trade, ply your trade in safety.
Within the rules.
Absolutely. You wear your helmet, you have your shin guard and all of those things. About 2 weeks ago, regrettably so, yes, we lost Femi Segun. And then Fayemi says, okay, fine, you can ply your trade. And in any case, if you go to Thailand and India today, you still have the guys who are at the bottom of the triangle, yes, who also try to eke out a livelihood, driving their tuk-tuk-tuk. And then they've not been sent out of streets. But we used to have a governor in that state who parades himself in such a manner, suffice to say his peers, his contemporaries, shudder and get unnecessarily cautious to identify with him. I challenge that same governor, that same candidate today, to mention the event that he has had ever since or when he was governor, that he had qualitative people who are his peers in attendance. And you see, Yorubas have a saying, Egbe yeleye water. You know, you can, yes, the birds of the same plumage flock together. People look at him and say, and then they say that Ekiti has gone beyond that. Ekiti used to be the fountain of knowledge, a land of honor, and we went all the way down and hit the rock bottom, and it's taking one man using the vehicle of collective rescue mission to bring us up back again. And then now that we're back up and again, we're not going to look back anymore. No letting up.
And people say he's not even from Ekiti.
Who's that?
On Facebook.
The Fayemi is not from Ekiti.
Yes, they say they will send him back to Ghana where he comes from. What is this thing with Ghana? Why do people think he's a Ghanaian citizen?
I don't know whether the Kayode is now Kufo. whether Kayode is now Kufo, or whether Fayemi is now Afrifa. I don't know. You know, politics around here is a cause for concern.
Because you see, they say they will send him back to Ghana,
yes,
where he's come from.
Yes.
Because he has even opened a university, yes, in Ghana. And yes, so the whole idea of increasing tuition, for instance, in Ekiti State University.
Angie, that's not true. In his inaugural speech, he said he was going to keep tuition at 50,000. It remains so till today. I will stand down. Don't forget, I'm also a congressman. I'm a member of representatives. Yeah. If anybody shows to me today that Dr. Fayemi has increased tuition by 1 naira, I, Bimbo Daramola, I put my face to camera, I am going to stand down.
They will write to me, those who are watching you.
Please, like, Angela, if somebody comes up to say, and say, here is it, you lied. Fayemi, and what is the, let me tell you what's going on here. Fayemi says at his inaugural speech, I had this meeting with some folks, some students from the university, about 380 of them, yes, about a month ago at Jibowo. And I said, listen, you guys need to know that this is not about Dr. Fayemi. The quantum of benefit that's going to come to Fayemi when he wins by the grace of God, yes, and the grace of the people is going to be between 9% and 10.2%. The remaining 90% or 88.8% is yours. Because what Fayemi has done is to put a system in place, yes, and have a foundation that you can also build upon. If you don't have a building that is standing, look at your studio. If your studio isn't standing, you cannot say this is the editing suite, this is for post-production, and all of that, and all of that. Okay, back to this story. And I said, you guys, tell me what exactly is the grouse. And they said, oh, the fee is too much. And I said, okay, listen, has anybody read the inaugural speech of the governor? And then I had five hands in the air. I said, good. Please tell me, what did he say? He said 50,000, good. He said 50,000, good, okay. How much is your tuition today? They said 50,000. But there are charges. We all went to school, Angie. Yes. We all went to school. Department will charge, NANS will charge, student union will charge, academics, all kinds of things. Yes. It took a John Cowdery to eradicate the proliferation of handouts in X. Before now, until he became governor, the degrees out of Ekiti State University, where you get 10 for a dozen.
So if any student of XU is
my name is Bimbo Daramola,
who is still paying for handouts.
My name is Bimbo Daramola, 0803 700 3737. Talk to Angela or call me. If you still buy handouts today, it's illegal. It took a John Cowdery to ban it. Don't forget that Dr. Fahimi is also a scholar, renowned, world-class scholar. And he knows the basic, irreducible minimum that obtains out there. And because he knows the basic irreducible minimum, Ekiti State cannot play the second fiddle. We also have to lend ourselves to in fact, his exposure commends to us the task to match the kind of scholarly exposure that he's got. So, now if all of these things add up, I only just published Fahimi's strides in XU over the past 3 years, and nobody has been able to fault it. And I compared the various tenures, the tenure of Governor Shagoni, the tenure of Ayodele Fawoshe, and Dr. Fahimi. It's taken a John Cowdery for the very first time in 32 years of the existence of that university for them to have a capital grant. Fahimi did 200 million. They've never had it so good. Not only that, it's only recently given them around 50 million naira. As we speak today, hey God, oh goodness. And now listen. Yes. Do you know that one of these candidates only just said that he doesn't have any business with the medical school for the university, that he was going to scrap it? And today, yes, Ayodele Fawoshe said he doesn't have any business with medical school. He said it. In 21st century Nigeria, that means you can't groom our own medical doctors. That means our hospitals will be bare and continue to wallow under inability to provide. I mean, if you provide equipment and you don't have people to train or train people to take it on, I said that. Said he doesn't have any business, and that if he becomes governor, they should forget the medical school. He's taking a card, if I mean, to get 62 courses accredited in 3.5 years. And somebody says he's going to ban that university. And today, not less than 6 facilities, medical, law, and all of that are standing today to the eternal credit of the commitment of this man to scholarship. Back to back, in 2 years, back to back, the best student in law school, out of law school in Nigeria, has been product of XU. That didn't come by flight of fantasy. It came out of rigors of a man who knows what governance is. And that is John Cowdery. And by the grace of God, the Ekiti people are going to put him back in the office.
Join us again after the break. Perhaps no one has ever done 2 terms in Ekiti State because they've never performed, and the people have never wanted them back, because they haven't performed.
I don't even think the question has arisen before in Ekiti. Let's look at the record. Only one governor has ever completed a 4-year term in Ekiti. Otumbani Adebayo. So you cannot base an assertion on a conjecture. You must base your assertion on evidence that you can clearly demonstrate as true. Governor Lumilua, the only Ekiti man that we had who was governor in Ondo State, the old Ondo State at the time, did not even have the opportunity to finish the 4-year term. Remember, this was 93. He only spent 2 years in office, for less than 2 years, before General Abacha came in November 1993 to take the government by force. And then, under this dispensation, 1999 to 2013, there's been no basis for it. So how can you argue that nobody has ever done something when there has been no basis to put forward such an argument?
60 Minutes with Angela. Again, answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
If you've just joined us, you're watching 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajitumobi. On my hot seat today, Bimbo Daramola, the Director General of the campaign organization for the re-election of Dr. Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. Now, I know of there are four main parties. I don't know how many candidates, how many parties are participating.
The last time I checked,
Yes.
you got the man who is running to win by the grace of God, Dr. John Kayode Fayemi of the APC, and then the guys from
I have
PDP, Dr. Ayodele Fayose, Honorable Michael Opeyemi Bamidele of Labour Party, Koli Ajayi of Accord Party.
Okay.
The last time I checked, I could.
Those are the four that I have as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so does Dr. Fayemi have the ticket of the party now?
Absolutely, he's got it.
Did he hold primaries?
He got it last week. Up until last weekend, he was an aspirant. You know, when we had our first mega rally,
Yes.
and everybody went to town, Ashwaju has backed off. All the leaders are not there, or we're not there. Oh, that. Oh, this. Oh, Fayemi is running on his own steam and all
Yes.
of that and that. And then we took our time to explain to them that he had only just gone to pick up his nomination form. This is not a coronation, because some people were waiting in the wings.
Yes.
And we said, according to the statutes, and we play by the rules of the party, we needed to go through primaries. And then we waited out the time,
Yes.
and nobody picked up the form. And then the process of the party, as stipulated in the constitution by affirmation, took his place, took his course.
So he was the only one from the APC
Yes.
who took the nomination form.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that.
In practice, it shows the APC has confidence in him.
Absolutely. If you put 25,000 people off the brinks of poverty for 3.5 years,
Yes.
you would expect some kind words.
Yes.
If you put 10,000 people with 10,000 naira for the past 2.5 years, you will expect some kind words. If you revitalize industries, you will expect some kind endorsements and all of that.
Yes.
When Fayemi became governor, civil servants were on 7,300 naira or 500 naira thereabout. That was the minimum wage. As we speak today, it's 9,235 in a state that gets between 2.7, 2.8 billion naira per month.
It's number 35 out of 36.
Thank you very much for saying that.
Also, Professor Adelabu will remain his running mate as he goes into this election.
Well, Angie, you're spotting me on, but I honestly don't think that there's any need to change a winning team.
Yes.
Somebody I affectionately referred to as my mom, and somebody I'd gotten to know over the years. Also comes to the ticket with a lot of credits. She's got her own brand equity, and then I'm not too sure that anything's going to tweak with that team.
Yeah.
It's a team that has delivered, even though she came right in the middle of the tenure after the demise of my dearest sister, Mrs. Layinka, God bless her soul, very lovely personality. But then, I mean, we've not been able to see the gap. So she's done well, and I think the people will still like to have her face around for the next 4 years. And of course, it feels good to have a professor at the head of affairs. Yes, when you have a PhD holder, and then you have a professor, and then somebody who is coming to this election with school cert, Dr. Ayodele Fayose, submitted his form. You don't forget that when he was governor, the first time between 2003 and 2006, for the very first 1 year, the issue it was all in court about his credentials. He allegedly claimed at that time that he's got HND, and then he went all the way to Supreme Court, I guess.
Yes.
And today, 7 years after, Angela, 7 years after, for a state has been ruled by or administered, remarkably so, by a PhD holder, supported eminently by a professor, it's now going to go into the hands of somebody who submitted his form with WAEC.
Yes, but interestingly, I interviewed Bolade Omonijo, the political editor at the Nation newspaper, and he said to me, even though the APC seems to have the upper hand, they would do well not to ignore the PDP. The PDP is, he thinks, in his own opinion, the real rival here, not even the Labour Party. So, who, in your opinion, as the Director General of the campaign organization, You can't go into an exam not thinking that
Yeah,
they
you're
are
gonna
some
fail.
rivals.
That you're gonna fail?
No, not that they're going to fail. Some people will be gunning for that first position with you.
Yes.
Aren't you scared of any of these parties?
We're not scared. The Bible says, come with your strong reasons. And where you do, that's what the Bible says. Let them come and tell us. I only just told you now. Would you rather have a governor who has a PhD and has done all of these good works, matched and supported by a PhD holder, and all of a sudden, what do you tell your son? That you left a PhD holder who has performed and handed the reins of power, the fate and fortunes of a man, of a state, into the hands of a man who has West African school certificate. And then let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. You may say, what has qualification got to do with it?
Yes.
You can't give what you don't have. If you ain't got it, you can give it.
Yes, but you can surround yourself with all the professionals.
Well, then you refer. How many professionals are willing to work with a man who has WASC? They probably most likely will get to cabinet and they will tell him things that he cannot comprehend. It's clear. You can't build something on nothing. And he's going to have a whole lot of time saying, hey guys, I am the governor. Hey guys, I'm the governor. It's a sign of inferiority not to accept when you are defective. Ekiti, you cannot, how do you do it?
What about the threat of Representative Bamidele? You know, a lot of people see that as a threat because he was, with the governor. They were friends.
Absolutely.
And, so if anyone, they say, if anyone is going to do you in, it will be somebody who knows you very well.
Yeah.
Don't you consider him and the Labour Party to be a threat?
Well, Ekiti people will decide. Ekiti people, like you rightly said, like you said, Mr. Bolade Omonijo, who is not a card-carrying member of APC, already said, oh, we don't even bother about this guy. He came, listen, we got to be careful in life. Any man who feels he's all in all and is driven by vaunting ego will soon find out that a leader who abandons his followers is taking a stroll in the park.
Is it ego or is it confidence?
What kind of confidence? What kind of
confidence that I think I can be a better governor?
Oh, by all means, I am not saying Michael Opeyemi Bamidele can't be a better candidate or a better governor. I'm not saying that. But the circumstance under which he has emerged is a clear case of vaunting ego and ambition. And let me tell you this, ambition is personal, aspiration is collective and corporate. When ambition confronts aspiration, ambition will give way. What we have seen today, we have asked him. He's my colleague at the National Assembly.
Do you speak?
Oh yes, of course he did. One time we had a chance to talk about this, and I said leader, because Dr. Fahim also made him the leader of the caucus.
In the House of Representatives?
Yeah, I was in the United States at the time. I immediately after my elections, I just said, okay, fine, let me just go and take a rest. And by the time we came back for our induction in Benue, Dr. Fahim had pronounced him the leader of the Ekiti caucus in the House of Representatives. He's qualified, he's a lawyer, qualified, he's sound and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot expect that Ekitis would queue behind you when your script is not known to them. The whole of this thing about Labour Party is not clear. How many people are driving it? And we've asked him, if he's so popular and he's altruistic and whatever he's trying to do has a ring of altruism about it, he should have been able to take one more person at the National Assembly with him. It is not a qualification that you must. But you must have been able to pitch us. You must have been able to say, hey guys, Kayode Fayemi is not doing this well. This is why it's not doing well, I can do it better. This is why it's not doing well, I can do it better. This is why it's not doing well, I can do it better.
Are you saying none of the 3 senators, none of the House of Representative members went with him?
When you score 1 over 9, what have you passed? 9 of us went to National Assembly, 6 House of Rep members, including your good self, humbly so, and himself, and then 3 senators. That's 9. And he's the only one, he's the only Judas out of the 12. And you know what befell Judas? Judas was one of the most important apostles to Jesus Christ. He was keeping the money. You won't tell a man who you don't trust to be your treasurer. Judas was the treasurer of the disciples. Hang on. And then what did Judas do? He stepped out of line, and then his career ended.
Have you not heard Representative Bamidele say that some of the members of the cabinet, some commissioners, they're secretly on his side, and when the time is right, they will be made known?
Okay, I hope these elections will also be conducted in secrecy. You know, unfortunately, this election is not conducted in the coven of witches and wizards. It's going to be conducted on the streets of Abuja, of Ekiti State. So all those people who are parading and sucking him dry, he will soon find out. Chino Achebe, in one of his books, Chief Things Fall Apart, said, when a man challenges his chi to a fight, he will soon discover that it's a battle that he cannot win.
He cannot win. All right, and then let's stay with the hurdles. I've assembled what I consider to be the hurdles of facing Dr. Fayemi. This second term jinx, I have a sound bite of him explaining that no one has really ever attempted to get a second
That's
term.
the truth, Angie. Listen, Ekiti, regrettably so, particularly in the period of 2003 and 2006, has had, unfortunately, 7 governors in the period of 4 years. Under Ayo Fayose. Okay, running up to Shegun.
Yes. Good.
And then you ask yourself, out of all of the governors of Ekiti State, how many of them have served out their term? Only one. Otumba Ni Adebayo Omoluabi. The only one. Are you going to tell me that Baba of blessed memory, Baba Friday Aderemi, who served for 1 month or 1 week, should aspire to run for second term? Even Ayo Fayose, who is running today, was impeached.
So he's running for a fresh term.
He's running for a fresh time. And to think that, unfortunately, we have a society where people walk with their heads. He's running his campaign between courtrooms and the podium.
What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. Only 2 weeks ago, it was in court. EFCC already proved a prima facie case against him with details about how his crony and his friend, Benga James, from biological concepts. I'm not saying what you don't know. Yeah. It's not subjudice. It's there. Prima facie case established by EFCC that you, Peter, and your default stole money, and that to the tune of 1.3 billion naira under a phony project called the Poultry Project, and then provided by EFCC, and go and check, provided the names of beneficiaries of people who took Ekiti people's money. His former deputy governor, Biodun Olujimi, it was precipitated there. Benga James, the guy who brought the project, wrote in there that Olujimi came and collected 25 million. He bought car for the governor's mother. He built church for the governor's mother. This one. Is there? He was in court. Is it not even morally wrong that a man who seeks to lead the people is running his campaign between the podium and the and courtrooms?
We'll take another break now. When we come back, we'll start off from the point where some people are saying that perhaps if the candidate of the PDP was different from the other 13 now, you guys will be more jittery than you are now with the Governor Fayose, but we'll take that after the break. So join us again after the break. Perhaps no one has ever done 2 terms in Ekiti State because they've never performed, and the people have never wanted them back because they haven't performed.
I don't even think the question has arisen before in Ekiti. Let's look at the record. Only one governor has ever completed a 4-year term in Ekiti. Otumba Ni Adebayo. So you cannot base an assertion on a conjecture. You must base your assertion on evidence that you can clearly demonstrate as true. Governor Lumilua, the only Ekiti man that we had who was governor in Ondo State, the old Ondo State at the time, did not even have the opportunity to finish the 4-year term. Remember, this was 93. He only spent 2 years in office, less than 2 years, before General Abacha came in November 1993 to take the government by force. And then under this dispensation, 1999 to 2013, there's been no basis for it. So how can you argue that nobody has ever done something when there's been no basis to put forward such an argument?
60 Minutes with Angela. Again, answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
sabi better thing? Abi who no like better thing? All these fine things wey dey see so. Na money government dey take do am now. Abi, as in, it's like, I mean, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do wetin? I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. Have you pay your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Welcome back. My concluding moments now with Bimbo Daramola, the Director General of the campaign organization for the re-election of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. Now, Mr. Daramola, people say to me that the reason the APC feels relaxed is because it was Fayose who emerged in the PDP. Perhaps if it was a Senator Gbenga Aluko, for instance, or any of the others there, then you people would have been more jittery in the APC.
Yes. Well, let me say to you that this election is not about APC. This election is not about John Kayode Fayemi. This election is not about anybody else. As interpreted by us, it is about the people. Because there's going to be the day after, June 21.
Yes.
And that is the one that matters. I will not bemoan their misfortune for picking a candidate like, and guess what? I know Ayodele Fayose very well. He also knows me. We're very well acquainted. I don't have any problems with him as a person,
yes,
and all of that. I wish him the best of luck. We relate very well. Up until December, we relate very well. But the truth of the matter is that I don't think he's the governor for this time. He's had his time and he blew it. Now, PDP had a chance at this election to rebrand and give themselves a brighter and better outlook.
Who in your opinion, do you think should have, made it?
No, let me say this.
Yes.
It would have been a lot better if PDP had listened. And then this is not also, unfortunately so, the choice of Ayodele Fayose is also not about Ekiti people. It's not that the PDP wants to win that election.
Yes.
It's about President Jonathan and his vaunting ambition to rule again. It's about Ayodele Fayose to have the last opportunity to throw jibes and to take its pound of flesh at the people who took him out of government. He's still embittered. He's still bitter about it. And that is clear. There's no way, and that's why he starts his campaign by saying, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. And I've dared him to say that I will vote for him under one condition.
What condition?
Very good question, Angie. A condition that he has had a heart transplant. If he comes to the podium and he says to Ekiti people, this used to be my heart when I led you between 2003 and 2006, and now today I have a brand new heart.
What do you think is embedded in the heart?
Well, because the Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh, and then Ekitis have a saying, it's only what you have inside of you that when you get drunk and you misbehave, that is already what is inside of you. It's primordial. Now, PDP had a chance and a choice to be able to say, okay, fine, let us clear. No doubt about it. Is President Jonathan or the PDP or the guys in Wadata Plaza going to pretend that there's a prima facie case against Ayodele Fayose today? Are they going to say it's an institution of state has not established? It is not just as if they're still trying to look for facts.
Yes, but can't we say that he's innocent until proven guilty?
Absolutely.
No court has really convicted him.
Absolutely. But the truth of the matter is that there's also a level of moral. Listen, it's going to be a Herculean task for anybody in PDP today. Regrettably, Senator Gbenga Aluko is my uncle, very close to me. Uncle Dayo, I know him. Adeye, I know him, civil, even though we had issues. I don't know Mayeni too well. Yes. These are people who are coming to the table with some level of credentials. They're coming with some level of integrity. You don't say that because it's not being convicted in court, that vitiates the fact that a prima facie case of corruption is hanging around his neck. It's not. It's inadmissible. Now, regardless of who becomes, if they had picked somebody else, it would still have been a Herculean task because, listen to this. I'll give you a crunch figures for you. 25,000 senior citizens taking 5,000 naira of the people's money, of their own money, Over the past 2.5 years, we would have sons and daughters. Multiply that by 2. That already gives us 50,000 votes.
And that 5,000 is every month.
Every month. There's no other state government in this state today that is doing it. Are you going to ignore the fact that this same governor has given 38,000, I did not say 3,800, 38,000 laptops to prepare our glory of tomorrow today, so that people don't get inferior, they don't feel inferior when they meet their colleagues and contemporaries. I only just told you that 2 of our own became the best students coming out of EXU, law students. Unilag is there after so many years. Now this is the thing. Now let us crunch the figures. Let us do the roughest mathematics.
Yes.
25,000 senior citizens would have family members who are grateful to God that the governor for the first time is serious enough and thoughtful enough to say that these people should not live the rest of their lives in despondency and despair, and makes available some level of resources to them. That's 25,000. Yeah. If they have 2 people in their families who will say on the basis of this, and there will be people who will say so, that if you multiply that 25,000 by 2, that's 50,000 naira, 50,000 votes. 10,000 volunteers who have been on 10,000 naira. If you have, yes, per month, because there are no jobs. 10,000. If they have two people who are grateful to Almighty God and the presence of mind of a man who is in government house who has provided those jobs, that is 20,000. 20,000 plus 70,000. That's it. If you leave that, the people who are working at Ikogosi today, the guys in Ikogosi today, the guys plying the road, the Okada riders, and all of that, these are the guys who are going to vote about. And I don't think there's anybody coming out of the PDP who can impeach this level of performance.
But people say that he has mortgaged the future of Ekiti people by borrowing and borrowing and borrowing.
Angela, when I hear comments like this, I just shake my head. Even in our personal domestic economics, yes, don't we borrow? It's not borrowing that is bad. What is bad will be the terms and what you have committed it to. Today, Ikogosi is up and running. December 24, 20,000 people from across the length and breadth of this country went to Ekiti State, went to Ikogosi. 20,000. If each and every one of those guys spent, because you couldn't have spent 200 naira to get there without spending 200 naira when you get there. Yeah. If you spent 200 naira, that is 200 naira times 20,000, you will have increased the local economy of that area by 4 million naira in one day.
What were they in Ikogosi for?
For the Ikogosi One Spring. It used to be a resort. It's one of the 8 of its sort all over the world. One Spring where the hot water and the warm water meets and all of that. Yes. Okay, finally has transformed it. Governors have come and gone. In 21 years, that place laid prostrate. It took a John Kawadi to bring it up on stream. Today, not less than 250 people are working directly, yes, getting their livelihood from there. Their parents are going to vote for Fahimi. Ikogosi is no longer the same. If we bought bricks where I'm from, one of the Germans who came to establish that place taught me how to collect stamps. I didn't know that philatelist
was something.
I didn't know anything about it until that man came out of Germany. My father had to give them a house to house them to prepare for that industry. That industry laid prostrate for 23 years. Governments have come, governments have gone, including the government of Identification.
Is it working now?
It's the very first block is going to be taken out of that place by the end of April. The government had invested 600 million. It's good to go. The whites are back there. Listen, go and find out. The whites are back there now, and the first block, and that compares. You see, it's just like the factory, the one they call Clay Bus Stop here.
Yes.
Yes, it was started at the same time.
With the one in
Absolutely. That has a bus stop to say today. But ours went down, all the way down. Today, that place is going to give jobs. It's going to put food on the table of not less than 250 people. Okay. Those people are going to go vote for Kawadi.
Now, there are 3 groups of people they say will determine, yes, how this election will go. Teachers, people are worried. Dr. Kayodi's friends are worried that that development test for teachers may do him in because the teachers are very unhappy to be writing that test. Council workers, they say they have suffered cuts in grants, they haven't had regular promotions, and the road transport workers, government support for one Rotimi Olabiwonu, aka Mentilo. Those three groups, teachers, council workers, road transport workers, what is your campaign's organization's response to those three groups?
What people dish out outside of Ekiti, it's not likely what's going on there.
Okay.
And again, people could misconstrue the best of intention. When the issue of competence test started, it was not aimed at sacking anybody. As we speak today, it's been 3.5 years of John Kawade as governor of Ekiti State. He has not sacked one person.
In spite of the test being wrong?
He didn't even conduct the test. What he did was that, let me know what you need, skills deficit.
Yes.
Let me equip you. The same governor who has made it possible for 18,000 teachers to have laptops, and then they can pay back over 24 months. The students aren't paying back anything. Is he the one that will sack them? He just says, okay, let me know what to put on the table. Yeah. Let me know how to give you fresh induction. Yeah. Let me know whether you need
what
to...
Areas
what areas, and that's what it's all about. Fahimi's father was a teacher. So what does he gain? How does it profit for him to sack teachers? And I've just told you that this is the first state in this country where you get core teacher allowance. If you're in the village or in the backwaters, in the hinterland, you get 25% of your salary.
Okay, that's what the core teachers are like.
Yes, you get, if you are teaching mathematics, physics and all of that, or English and all of that, and you are in the hinterland, you get 25% of your salary. So at the end of the day, you may eventually get 70% of your salary at the end of the month. Because in addition to the fact that when Dr. Kawade became governor, he met the minimum wage at 7,500, and today is 19,000. And in any case, whoever told you that is living in the past. All of these gaps have been closed. The teachers are happy now. I had a rally where teachers had their own shirts with the inscription, teachers love JK.
What about the council workers?
The council workers, what they said, I also met with them.
Yes.
And of course you see that opposition would try to throw spanner in the works and all of that. But they also know, are they immune to the fact that people are now facing the reality of the fact that infrastructure has been taken headlong, that roads are, in 3.5 years, yeah. Dr. Fahimi has started inter and intra road about 602 kilometers. Okay,
that's the 5
qualitative
5 kilometer per
okay.
local government.
Now, if a governor had a policy of 5 kilometer per local government, that is 5 times 16. Yeah. That gives you 80 kilometers times 3. That gives you 240 kilometers. That's what Kawade Fahimi has done with the people's money. And then the local government people are talking about harmonization. Yeah. That was already started. But then in a state that gets 2.8 billion naira, how do you expect the governor to pay 3.6 billion in one fall swoop? It's not going to happen. And he has said he's committed. In any case, there's none of these guys who is parading himself to become governor of Ekiti State who can address these issues in 2 years. But for Kawade Fahimi, it's going to be the day after. Ekiti does not have the luxury of a governor who is going to be learning on the job. Even the guy who was there 7.5 years ago, if he comes out there today, the template is different. People have a different perception of what government is all about now. How much more? Or Fahimi had never been a governor. He has been a special advisor, he has been a special commissioner and all of that. But 1,000 commissioners cannot equate a governor. So, if he doesn't have the experience, Fahimi is going to hit the ground running from October 17, 2014 by the grace of Almighty God. We won't have to change the locks, we won't have to change the chairs, we won't have to invite civil servants for briefing. We won't need that.
And you wouldn't have to pack his suitcase.
And we will have to pack his suitcase. He wouldn't need to buy a new shirt. He wouldn't need to buy a dress for inauguration. Yeah. It's going to be the day after. And Ekiti does not have the indulgence and the luxury of time for a governor who is landing on the job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daramola. We will have you back as the elections descend upon us. And I'm sure as the opposition also come on the program,
very well.
I will call you to respond.
Very well. I look forward to a time where they will come across the table and we can exchange this. And if anybody impeaches what I've said today, take it from me. I'm going to stand down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget to like 60 Minutes with Angela on Facebook. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter, Angela at 60 Minutes. I'm Angela Ajetumobi. I thank you for the pleasure of your company.